Welcome to Unfuck Your Life and Relationships with Anita Astley, psychotherapist and author, along with co-host David Curtis, spin cycle guru. This is a weekly podcast like no other. Sit forward, listen in, and get ready to get unfucked from the inside out. Unfuck your life! Unfuck your life!
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast called Unfuck Your Life and Relationships. My name is Anita Astley. I am the host and I'm here with my friend and co-host David. He is the guru of Spin Cycle. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am an individual couples and family therapist. I've been in practice for about 25 years, helping people to unfuck their lives. And I thought, okay, since the book has come out, here it is. We're going to do a podcast and we're going to talk about relationships. But before we get into that, David, I want to hear all about you. Share your narrative.
Gosh, where do I begin? But ultimately, Anita already said I'm the spin guru.
You are?
You know, I've been in the industry for a long time, fitness as a whole. And a couple years ago, I said to myself that I wanted to branch out on my own. And I've worked for the big dogs, right? You know?
I know.
But at one point, I just decided that I wanted to continue to help people. And fitness and, you know, mind and body and wellness is like a really important part of hopefully everybody's lives. But just this last year, I decided to go out on my own. And so I currently own a spin studio in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I love all things and breathe all things cycle. So.
And how did we meet? We want to talk about our friendship?
Yeah, I think we should totally talk about that.
Totally. Well, you did break my foot.
It's a good story. I know. You know what? Story. So actually, she came to a spin class of mine. And she was conned into it by another mutual friend.
Yes.
And she didn't listen to the instructions. And so
you didn't give any. I'm sorry, David.
I think you were just so excited because I was up there riding shirtless.
Okay.
Needless to say, she ended up breaking her ankle and having to have, what, like 9 pins or something?
9 screws. I'm a perfectionist. I broke it and I displaced my tibula or fibula.
Basically, it's the best way you can break something.
Yeah,
she totally fucked it all up.
So I had to have surgery, but it made us become closer friends.
Way stronger.
And then I became very famous where you taught because I was the first one to ever break a foot in your class.
And I used her as an excuse.
Yeah, after me, there was a whole bunch of people. Anyway, you should have tell people to wear shoes when you do spin class. So that's how we met. And then we've become really good friends. And we've gone through a lot of ups and downs together. And now we're kind of besties. And now we're podcast besties.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the journey that we're headed down. I think, you know, Anita came to me with the idea. Obviously, you know, I had pre-ordered the book before it even came out. I want to support my friends and family and things like that. And she came to me with the idea one day, and I thought to myself, you know, holy shit, that's amazing. Like you're an Indian woman. Your cultural, the culture and the way that you've lived and things you've been through is different. But yet at the same time, you've been kind of the wild Indian girl.
I've been the different Indian girl, breaking all the norms. If you read my book, you will learn all about me and how I left home at 16, which is total taboo in the Indian culture.
100%.
So we are the oddest podcast couple, but we are going to fucking kill this
I'm
podcast.
Obviously the younger one. And in case you didn't know, I'm gay.
Not that much. Yeah, you are gay. Not that much younger. I want to talk about my own life at this point in time, and I'm like 100 years old, but I'm going through this, what I'll call a relational status change, divorce, okay? And this will lead us into our subject for today, which is friendships. So I will tell you, David, as you know, and we've shared off the camera and off mic, that I have learned so much about myself, but also the people that I called my friends. And I had the rudest awakening ever because I thought the people who would support me the most throughout this process, which was really difficult, still kind of unfucking that for myself. As I say, the unfucking process never stops. It only stops when we die because God knows what's going to happen to us, right? I never expected this to happen to me, but it did. And the people that I expected to be there for me were not there for me. I have a lot of friends. Like, you know, you've been to my parties, a lot of friends. Probably if 2 people really called me, checked up on me, offered me some comfort. The rest texted me with some sympathy sympathy quotes, sympathy things. And I thought, this is not what I need. This is not friendship. True friendship to me is when something happens to you in your life, they are there for you. They don't just fucking text you. They pick up the phone, they make a date with you, and they're there to support you emotionally and also physically. You might need a place to stay. So I did couch surf for a while, and then I found—
How was that?
That was really difficult at my age. I mean, it reminded me, if you read my book, of what I was doing at the age of 16. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? I'm not 16 anymore. Why am I couch surfing? Because I'm not from Wisconsin. I'm here simply for my relationship and my family. And that's my not my family of origin, but my kids and my husband at the time. So I actually went back to Canada, and I thought, I'm not going to come back to the US, but my kids are here. One of my kids is in Canada. So it was a very difficult time. And I really found out that my family, number one, was there for me. And only 2 out of probably like 50 friends that I have here actually called and checked up on me. And I thought, what the fuck is that about? What is this about? And I have to say, one of the most hurtful things that happened to me from 2 people that I know, and I don't want to call them out, but they actually texted me and said, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't reach out to me. I am so hurt. And I thought, oh, I'm so sorry that you're so hurt. My fucking life is falling apart here, but I'm so sorry that you're so hurt, that this is about you. You actually not even thinking about what I'm going through and what I need at this moment in time. Kind of narcissistic. Like when something happens to someone and they need help, it is about them, and you need to put your shit on the bookshelf to be able to help them. I would never do that to somebody.
I think that's
not a friend.
I think that, doesn't matter, your orientation or who you're friends with or what you believe in or where you're from. I think that people forget, there's people that have, even like your chosen family, right? And your friends were at some point your chosen family. And so I know for me, I hold my friends at almost a higher place than I do my family. So I think it's really, I think if I was in that situation, I would be so upset if, I realized that the people that I thought were there weren't there for me.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're coming out of it on top.
I am, and I've worked on myself, and I continue to unfuck myself throughout this process. It's a very difficult process, and I have kids, so I don't talk much about it because my number one goal is to help my kids through this and also protect their confidentiality. And I know when this happens, I'm a therapist. I listen to people's stories all the time about divorce and separation. And everybody around that couple has their narrative or what they think happened. And I will tell you, no one really knows except for those 2 people. Maybe their therapist, if they have one and they're lucky, and not even. So all the stories and gossip that goes around town, which I'm sure, is happening with me, I don't really give a fuck because that doesn't help people. What happens to people when they have somebody in their friend circle going through this, it also becomes a mirror for some people's relationships. And then what they do is they withdraw. I've seen that because somehow they think it's contagious that, you're getting divorced. Oh my God. But what it does is exposes the cracks that they have in their own relationship. Correct. And they're forced to look at themselves. So I know that kind of happened. Like I was part of a pretty large circle of friends, and everybody kind of withdrew from us. And I thought, well, that's how I felt. I don't really know what the other perspective is. Then I thought, what happened? It's not contagious, number one. And instead of pulling together, we kind of pulled apart.
Yeah.
And 2 people didn't. And it's actually, I want to say, the people that I invested in the least were the people that were there for me the most.
She's talking about me, by the way.
Well, you and I have to name them. My friend Rita, who's always, and in the middle of all of this, Rita and I were having our, girly little tiff, which was really ridiculous. We hadn't talked to each other in a while. And then this happened. And I was like, who can I call that's really not immediate, like part of my life every day. Yeah. And I called her and I hadn't spoken to her for a year. And she's like, well, get the fuck over here right now. And I went over and I told her the whole story about what happened. I confided in her. I just needed a really good friend. And I stayed with her for a couple of days. And then another friend of mine in upstate New York, Jill, I want to thank her. She's amazing, was there for me virtually. And I talked to her every single day. But the whole point is that sometimes the people that you invest in on a daily basis are not the people who are going to be there for you when you're in crisis. And
Totally.
I learned that. And you and I became closer throughout this too, because I did go to you because you were not part of my immediate
Correct,
circle. And I know you've been through a lot of shit in your life and friendships.
Totally, yeah. I think we all go through things, and I think I'm just really excited for the future to be able for us to share.
Yeah.
I think that I think we never know where it's going to end up and how we get to this space, but I think it's how we manage those actions along the way. And we've ended up here today. And what are we going to talk about? It's not just going to be every single week, just a specific relationship or whatever,
No.
but what are we going to talk about? We're going to get raw.
We're going to get raw and
down
real,
dirty.
and we are going to talk about so many things. I just wanted to start off talking about friendships today and talking a little bit about myself, because sometimes people think, well, you must have a fucking perfect relationship because you're a therapist. And I'm like, actually, I don't. And this is what I'm going through. And that's why I'm sharing this. I don't live in some fucking protective bubble. There are therapists who also are divorced and remarried and go through their own shit. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that I'm not an effective or good therapist.
Right? Has anyone ever, I'm sure someone's been to a doctor and they found out their doctor smokes
and
cigarettes.
they're not healthy or whatever, right?
That's
and
ridiculous.
Happens all the time.
No offense, but I know you've been to a doctor before and the doctor's like, well, let's just say
they're
not
healthy.
skinny.
Right,
So.
they're not healthy. So we don't live in a protective bubble. We are not immune from all the relationship bullshit that goes on. And sometimes in relationships, people grow apart. And I started talking about friendships because this is something that most of us experience some conflict in friendships. But I also want to say that when people think about relationships, they automatically think it's a romantic relationships. Absolutely not. So we have friendships, we have platonic relationships, we have familial relationships, which are full a lot of shit we're going to talk about in the family.
Yeah.
You got family stuff, I got family stuff. Just talking about the dynamics and the families that I've worked with over the years. But friendships are key in our lives to have healthy, balanced relationships with ourselves and our significant other, because we need to spread ourselves around a little bit. But when shit hits the fan, you guys really have to think about who is going to be there for me. It's not always the people that you think are going to be there for you.
Absolutely. And you know what? I definitely learned probably over the last few years, and kind of I think the way that one of the ways we got to this point is that, Anita's going to be fantastic in sharing, all of the clinical side of, relationships and behaviors and things like that and patterns. But, me, I want people to understand that there's such an important side of health and wellness that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And, earlier Anita kind of had mentioned, if someone's lucky enough to have a therapist and, there's so many things. I'd like to think that everyone has baggage and, we all have it.
We're all fucked up.
And I know for me, I was really fucked up and I kind of had to unpack my baggage. And that's also why we're here today. I didn't just become a successful business owner, or I didn't just be able to buy my first home or do things that I never thought I would be able to do without unfucking myself.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to be fully unfucked because I have to figure shit out.
No one is fully unfucked. And we don't control what happens to us. We only control the response. And like I said, I wasn't expecting this to happen to me. And like I wrote in my book, I'm mostly unfucked. But okay, now every decade I got to unfuck myself. I mean, that's what everybody has to do. We have to always work on ourselves. And through working on ourselves, we will improve the relationships that we're in with people around us. That's always the goal, because that's the only thing we can control is how we behave, how we think, and how we are with another person.
Well, when you said, what should our first topic be? It's so difficult because we want to talk about everything.
Yeah, there's so much,
and it's just going to be great. We're just going to get to two close friends talk about lots of great things and inspire people to come in and talk to us and share. But one of the biggest things is when you said friendships, I was like, okay, that's great, because to someone like me, friendships are so crucial and so important in my life. But similarly, so that people kind of understand from my side, is, I wasn't always super healthy and in this space either. I went through a pretty toxic relationship, a couple of them actually. And I thought I knew everything back then, right? And I kind of laugh.
We think we know everything until shit hits the fan and something different happens to us and we unravel again. It is how do we pick up the pieces and move on?
Well,
and
neither
have
one of us are
relationships.
from here.
No,
so
friendships are key. Like
totally.
all my family is in Canada. And I think, okay, who did I go to? Who did I need? I needed my family, I needed close
Yeah.
friends. So those friends were really family, on Thanksgiving. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving. I spent it with my close friends here. And then I think, well, none of those people were around for me when I really needed help. It's an eye opener, but I think it's something that's really positive because I learned about myself in terms of, okay, was I not a good friend to these people that they were not there for me, that only two were really there for me? And then I thought, no, I gave a lot in these friendships, but that's where I have to recalibrate and I have to reset to say, okay, I have to rethink about where I'm going to invest my emotional self with. And I've learned a lot about that. And I think, for people listening in today and watching this, you need to look around in your circle of friends and think, okay, which one of these persons, or maybe more than one, who is going to be there for me and who has been there for me in the past if shit hits the fan? And if you really say no one in this group, then maybe you need to pull back a little bit and look for somebody and invest in somebody else, because we all need that one person. It is really quantity over quality. We all need somebody who has our back. And loyalty is huge.
Yeah.
I found that, some of those people were not very loyal to me, and I thought I had been loyal to them. So we learn a lot about people through friendships that we have, but also about ourselves. Maybe I'm, putting myself in a situation, I'm giving too much to the wrong people, and I need to reset.
Well, I think at your age, which is not very old, but I think at your age, you do have to recalibrate.
You have to recalibrate.
I just turned 40 this year, and we won't tell you how old Anita is. She doesn't have an age because you're never supposed to ask a woman her
I'm
age.
ageless.
You're priceless, that's for sure.
Thank you, darling.
I definitely think that, there has to be a pivotal point in your life where you recalibrate.
Yeah, we have to.
And I can't believe that I went so many years without recalibrating.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we know you're amazing. You have like every possible, example of everything when it comes to like the clinical studies.
We have a lot to share because 25 years of working with people, there's a lot that I've helped people unfuck. But then I always say, look, nobody's perfect. We are all imperfectly perfect, including myself. But, when you go to the book...
Have you met me?
No,
Okay.
I know you're really fucked up. It starts with chapter 1, which is self-awareness. And this process that I'm going through right now has taught, I had to really look internally because I really, and it's not a pity party that I'm having for myself, but I kind of did for maybe a day or two, which is okay. You're allowed to feel
72 hours.
Have some self-compassion, feel sorry for yourself, but then you got to kick yourself and say, okay, now what am I going to do about this? And create a new circle of friends and people and think, okay, what am I going to do differently this time? Maybe that I kind of fucked up last time, because I do take responsibility for that. Maybe I wasn't exuding something. And maybe, this is a takeaway for you guys today, is you have to look at yourself and say, okay, was I the friend that I should be?
Correct.
Am I giving to somebody else what I would like in return in a friendship? So then I thought, okay, I think I did and I do, but maybe not in the way that I should. But I'm saying that because I don't want to blame other people. I always start with looking at myself first, and then I'm looking outwards. And I think, okay, maybe it's a bit of both. And then I need to redo that. But I am not scared at this point in time. And I am not going to close myself off because I am a people person, as you know, and I love people and I love friendships. I just need to unfuck it again and start over, which is okay. It's okay to do that at any age.
100%.
It's when we withdraw and go into a shell that it's problematic, because we are social animals and we need people. I need people. I need friends. But we have to be very selective. And maybe what I need to do is keep that circle more tight and more closed. I tend to be like, you know me, everybody come in. And, blah, blah,
I'm the
blah.
opposite. I have like a black heart and a black soul and huge walls up. That's why I let it out on the bike, because that's where I'm able to get my emotions out.
Right.
So, it's funny. This was obviously like, I'm not a planner, and you'll learn that about me, but you know that. And so it's really funny. I'll just share with you really quickly today. Actually, the funny thing is that we're talking about friendships, and so I got like a random Instagram message from this person that I was like friends with in like high school. And, whatever, we had a falling out, and it was so funny because I had been thinking about her, and it's just so crazy that it, like the way the universe works.
Yes.
And anyway, she reached out, and I had said, hey, like I had blocked her and she had blocked me and all this, but it got to this point where it was funny that we had a really great conversation, just a quick 10-minute conversation. And I love that you said that you kind of have to take responsibility.
Yes.
And, 10 years or 12 years later, I was able to have this new person in my life. And sure, my personality is the same, but I was able to grow enough that I was able to say, hey, like, we're different people now. And I don't know you and you don't know me. But I do want to take ownership and responsibility for anything that I would have said or done to hurt you in the past. And I'm so glad that you're doing good. And I'm so glad that you deserve this goodness in your life.
Yes.
And I was really humbled and really grateful that she reached out, because I thought, wow, this person is also grown in their life. And it just took a long time and space. We'll see what happens with that relationship. But hey, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know what the basis is, and we're going to do, and we're going to talk about things. But what do you think the most fucked up thing that we're going to talk about at some point will be?
There's so many of them.
Are we going to get dark?
We're going to talk about everything. Next week, we're just going to talk about dating because, hey, I'm on the market now. I got to figure out how to date in a social media dating apps. I'm 100 years old. I don't know how to do this shit. But I will tell you, as a clinician, I come across subjects that people don't know where to get information and correct information. Yeah. For example, I work with a lot of young gay men who don't know how to have gay sex.
Oh my gosh, is that why I'm here?
Yeah, that's
I can't
the only
wait for
reason
that
you're
podcast.
Here. No, but I'm saying, okay, then I'm thinking like, yeah, they don't. They can't ask their parents. They're not going to learn that shit in school.
No, it's true. I taught
they can watch some gay porn, but that's not reality. And then they have these experiences in person with another gay person, and they're both fucked up and they don't know what to do, and it's a disaster. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not gay. I got to research this stuff. And I learn about it, and I think, okay, you know what? They have nowhere to go to get this kind of stuff.
Absolutely,
but guess what?
Yeah.
They're going to get it here because we are going to talk about how to have gay sex. Some of you guys might think, oh, gross, nasty. It's not. It's about love too, like heterosexual relationships. But it's different because I didn't know how to do that until I learned about it. And I was like, well, who better to share it than you?
Absolutely.
Mr. And who's had a lot of experiences. I won't even say anything. But these are young gay men who don't know how to have those positive experiences.
It's true.
And we're going to share that stuff. And it's going to be raw. It's going to be real. And we're going to be very explicit. So if you don't like that, you're not going to listen to us. But that's where we're going to go to.
You have the greatest ideas. You do. You have the greatest ideas.
But also, not just gay sex, but, heterosexual sex. This is one of the topics that people are so afraid to talk about. Even in therapy, seriously, when I ask them about their sex life, eye contact totally goes down. Oops, sorry about that. As if they don't have sex. But you know what? Physical intimacy comes in various forms, and people think sex is the only way to be physically intimate with somebody. It is not. But one of the most frequent things that I hear about in office is, I don't have sex very often. And I'm like, what's very often? It's been 5 years. What the fuck? It's been 5 years?
Oh my God.
How can you have a healthy relationship if you haven't had sex?
5 years? Can you imagine?
But unless you've decided,
that would never happen.
You're a man whore. I don't want to talk about you. If the couple has agreed, that's okay. But most of the time, that's not the agreement that they have. Anyway, these are the things that we're going to be talking about. And it's going to be raw. It's going to be real. Hope you guys are going to join us because we are going to be the next big shit thing in podcast world, right? This is our first one. So we're kind of getting to know each other in this venue.
On camera. We're trying to get to know each other.
On camera.
But in 6 months, we'll just be,
we'll be flowing.
Drinking voob behind the mic.
Behind the mic. We'll do it on camera. We can. It'll be much more
We'll probably
fun.
have to ask for permission or something, right?
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know. Friendships, though, that was our topic today.
Friendships is our topic, and I wanted to talk about it because, like I said, I'm going through this thing, and to get through difficult times in our lives, we need friends and family. And I learned that, it's not about the quantity, it is about the quality, and sometimes strangers that you haven't really paid much, strangers that not even strangers, people at the gym, you can talk more easily to because they're withholding judgment and they don't know you, and the people who are closest to you have the most judgment. So friendships, guys, pick wisely, look in the mirror, ask yourself, what kind of friend have you been and what should you get back in return? And if your friends are not really good to you, fuck them. You got to get new friends. 100%. It's okay.
And
change your circle.
I think that one of the biggest things that we've like shared and we've learned in this is it doesn't matter whether, I'm a cycle guru, but like it
You
doesn't matter whether you're
are.
like, if you're
Doesn't
going
matter
to
who
a
you
spin class or you're going to a yoga class. I really want to make sure that when people are reaching out to us and asking us questions and so forth, that we're able to give them tidbits of information and places to do and places to go and things to do in
Right.
order to be healthier and happier.
Yes.
Because I know in my journey, I've learned that the mind works so much better and you're able to, make better decisions.
Yes.
You're able to manage and choose the decisions and
Yes.
different things that you do. You're able to pick better when you are healthy and you
course.
choose to, whether it's eating better or whatever it is that you're doing, there needs to be that balance. And I think people forget about balance.
People forget about it and people compartmentalize. That's why
and
I
boundaries,
think
right?
Yeah, boundaries. That's why I think the body and the mind connection is so important. And it's going to be very relevant in our podcast because David is, of course, the guru of the body. And I think I have some information clinically of the mind. But we come together to say, the body-mind connection is so important to staying healthy and being balanced. I know that if I'm feeling like I've gained some weight, I feel yucky, not only on the inside, but on the outside. And then it spirals. It's a downward spiral usually.
100%.
And people sometimes tend to focus, as you know, always on the physical and on the body, but their mind is completely fucked up. And then what happens on a diet or a physical program or training, whatever it is that you're doing, after January, what happens? The gym is pretty empty in February because they are not able to, with their mind,
100%.
commit to the body-mind connection and what they want to achieve. They don't. They just kind of drop out because they haven't seen the physical changes. But that needs to go hand in hand with the mind. Commit.
Yeah.
And make the changes.
Now, are we
going to
go out into like bars or restaurants and talk to people?
We are. We're totally going to go out to, and not just in Wisconsin. We are going to go all over the U.S.
LA.
If you guys see us, come and say hi. Don't run away. Don't shy away. But I just want to point out something. You notice that David and I are wearing.
I was going to ask you if you were going to say something about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, obviously, my queen is the queen.
I got the cure today, but.
We love music, and we
love music.
thought that, music for me is a mind, body, and soul experience.
Yes,
if you are ever in Milwaukee and you get a chance to come take a class at my studio, it's called Fire Cycle Fitness. It's amazing.
It's an amazing place. It is.
But I wanted to create a space for people. And for me, music heals me. Music gets me through those tough times.
It's therapeutic.
Through the fights, through the friendships, through the breakups, the ups and downs, or through the changes if you're on medication or whatever. And I can only speak for myself. But, Mariah Carey was my very first concert when I was... I want to say 6 years old. Actually, we were talking about it before that we started recording the podcast, and it was actually the Fantasy video, in the late 90s. And my biological mother took me to that concert.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a love for music. And I think that we want to be about that, and we want to share that. And I know Anita loves rock and, AC/DC and Metallica.
I love all kinds of music. And I'll tell you, throughout this process of, my breakup, I have at times put on loud music because I'm alone, put on and just let myself cry, because that is one of the ways that I can let it out.
Yeah.
And music will bring out the worst, the best of memories. And that's really therapeutic.
100%.
You don't have to go to a therapist, even though I promote that. You can allow yourself to be in a space and allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. And music in this amazing place takes you to an amazing place to get those feelings out.
So many times I had moments where I couldn't break those walls down.
Yeah.
I couldn't get things out.
And music has helped.
And the music is just helped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Breaks those barriers, right? Yeah.
So what is our next week's going to be about?
We are going to be talking about dating, and we are going to be. Should we go out on the road, or it's too soon?
Probably
too soon, right?
I don't know. It might be too soon, but we'll figure it out. I mean, who knows?
It out.
I know that we're going to definitely have so many subjects we're going to talk about. I can't wait to talk about dating so much that I'm not ready to talk about right this second, because I have a whole nother hour to talk about dating. But I'll save it for then.
We will save it for then. And especially now, it is so, especially for somebody of my age, because you're not 100 years old, it is so different. And part of my history is that, Indian women don't date, they just marry.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to hear what it's like to.
I don't know what it's like. And
we don't have to talk about your personal relationship, but I know your past. And so, I guess I know you were in your marriage for a long time.
Yeah,
and so
32
it has
years.
to be really interesting to get out there, Meanwhile,
I have to work my shit.
I'm going to be able to talk to anyone and everyone. I mean, I'm sure there's, LGBTQ plus people out there that have questions about.
Absolutely. We all have questions
monogamy and,
well, I listen to my patients who are like, Anita, you don't know what it's like out there. Dating is horrible. And some say, well, dating is really great, online. But again, it goes back to, what are you looking for in a partner? What are your expectations? What are your needs? Are they realistic? Are they not? We're going to talk about all those things because relationships are complicated. Relationships are fucked up and they fuck us up. The toxic, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it all comes out in relationships. And if you don't think you're in one, guess what? You are. Because a relationship, the primary one is the one we have with ourselves. Anyway, I think that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah.
But we are super excited. And you guys can send us comments. You can share some questions. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Ask Anita Astley, and Unfuck Your Life in Relationships. And David, what's your handle?
My handle is just me, just DC, my personal Instagram. Feel free to follow. It's a fun journey, but also at Fire Cycle Fitness. If you have any questions for either one of us, please reach out. I'm super excited to just be able to bring a relationship and put it out there for you guys. There's just a lot of people I know that I wish I would have had someone to reach out to like us
guidance
when I was, 16, 17 years old. And so I hope that people reach out to us and just ask questions. And if we can just change or help, even guide one person, that is going to be
and I want to say that your perspective here is going to be so important because of your orientation.
Correct.
Yeah, because people are very uncomfortable talking about, and I know people have a gay son, they have a daughter who's a lesbian. They don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to help them or guide them with relationships. That's why it's so important that, and I'm so blessed that you're part of this journey with me on this podcast, because you're going to help a lot of people who are struggling and they don't know what to do.
Well, thank you.
And your voice is going to be really
I think so
important.
many people think that, gay marriage and everything's allowed now, that
it's not.
And they also have issues in their friendships and stuff.
Absolutely.
And there's not a lot of outlets. And I think we've learned being from major cities, I'm from Los Angeles. I guess when we came out here, I just didn't realize how sheltered the Midwest is still. And so there's a lot of people, I find out all the time, whereas I came out when I was 16, that there's people who don't come out till they're 30.
Yeah, there's a gay community in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you're listening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because those people come to see me.
Yes.
Although they feel lost, they don't know where to go. It does exist. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up. But if you are interested in buying my book and supporting me, Unfuck Your Life in Relationships, it is available on Amazon, Simon & Schuster, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, all these different places that you can get it online or in the store. We're going to be unfucking a lot of things on this podcast, including you.
And if you ask nicely, I might be able to con Anita into autographing a book for you if you send us a message.
I might. If you join the studio, right?
All right, guys. We're super excited to share our love and passion for everything that we do and really just unfuck you.
Get unfucked. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Unfuck your life!